Extraordinary. So, moving on to our next panel discussion, as I have these wonderful gentlemen setting up the space for us, I will introduce the panelists. The panel discussion is about leading progression pathway weaved through the insights of accomplished women leaders. Wow. The actual panel moderator is the amazing Lina Brahimi, corporate culture consultant. Lina, if you would come up whenever you can. The panelists are Noha Hefni, co-founder She is Arab, Manal Ataya, the Director General of Sharjah Museums Authority, Catherine Borge, is it Borge or Borhe? Borge, excellent, CEO of Bourne Hall, Galizar Jonian, Chairwoman, International Business Women's Group. I would love to have you up here when we're all set up. Yes, we're all set up, so please do come and take your places.
Good morning. You can hear me, right? Okay, good. All right, so the inspiration of today's summit is a delight. Women leadership, what we've heard so far is absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. And what's yet to come is we have just magnificent women here. They're all not only leaders, but actually award winners. So I want from their space, what does it take? And the best way actually is to hear their stories, right? Through storytelling, we learn more. And where shall I start? So, Gulizar, yes?
Okay.
So what does it take to be a CEO? You've been in leadership roles in a few organizations. Hello. So we'd like to hear from you.
So it's very low. I don't think they can hear me. Can you hear me?
Is it working?
Yeah. Okay, they hear me. I don't get it. So what was the question again?
So the question is, what does it take to be a CEO? Is it about the unique value proposition that you have? Is it about collaboration? Is it about building a peers group? What is it? What did it take for you?
Well, it's many things. I mean, of course, first you must be an executive material. That means many things. You even polish your exterior, you have to. But you really need to work on your knowledge. You need to educate yourself. You need to add more skills to your original profession. You need to know how to work with people, whether they are above you or below you, and to create this harmonious working relationship. There's a lot into that, but each one has a different way of going about it. So whether if it's a large organization, it depends on, of course, on the what we call the culture of the organization also. So it depends on if it's like women only or if it's mixture. So these all aspects are important, and for someone to be on that level, you have to really earn it and be able to inspire, to motivate, to be a good role model. And that never stops. You keep learning. You learn from the people who work for you, and you educate you, because you are going to lead these people. So you have to be up to it.
Okay.
And you can go on and on. Yes, ladies.
So Manal, can we move on to you? And from your experience, it's been 10 years now, 14 years,
yes,
sorry. Can we hear it from you for your point of view?
The same question?
Yes, the same question.
Okay,
yes.
First of all, good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. It's wonderful to be here today. In regards to your question, I mean, a lot of what Gulizar just said is also very important. I think when you look at leadership, it's very easy to get to a point where, for example, you earn the title or the position of leadership of any organization and often feel like, well, you've reached where you need to be and that's the end of it. I think just like with anything, it's something you have to continue to work on every day to keep that, and to keep it by meaning, are you still adding value to the organization? Are you still learning in a way that you're able to lead for the organization at that time? and in 5 years' time, and in 10 years' time. And that involves a lot of working on how you self-develop yourself, and you encourage yourself and challenge yourself to learn skills that you don't have, things that are often fearful to do. I've often put myself in situations that require me to be afraid and stressed, and that's a good thing, because it just pushes my boundaries further, and it makes me realize once I've completed it successfully that I can do certain things. So I didn't realize this till I was sort of, thanks to LinkedIn, I had to put in information, and I was going through what I've been doing, and I thought, my goodness, every year of my life since graduation, I have been involved in a major fellowship program or a leadership program that lasted a year or 2 years, studying different courses, applying again for a master's. So, it's a constant thing that with my current job and responsibilities, you also have to push yourself outside that further. And that's part of learning how to deal with learning and challenging yourself, but also part of, I think, being a great leader in this role is knowing that you don't know everything also, and a lot of younger people in the organization are learning and knowing things better than you do, and being able to say, that's okay, and that's a good thing, and I'm going to listen to you, and I'm going to take your advice as well.
So what I'm hearing here, a lot of learning along the way at the same time is pushing out of your comfort zone, right? Catherine, to you now, same question, because I think we're just curious to know, what does it take to be at the
What does it
C-suite?
take? Okay, well, good morning again, everyone. My name is Catherine Borge. I'm the CEO of Bourne Hall Fertility Clinic. I'm relatively new to the C-suite, so I can tell you from my about 6 months in the C-suite or so, it has been a lot of the same things that what you have said about now that you reach a certain position, how do you stay there, and why do you stay there? You stay there because you're making a difference. You're staying there because you're getting the results that you need to get. I think that we've heard, a diverse senior leadership team ends up getting you the best results for your investors, for, in my case, for our patients. We come up with the best ideas for best patient care. So I think the idea of being adaptable and flexible are very important skills to realize. I have come from a pre-med background, pre-medical, and realizing here that you need to be able to pivot and be able to best serve your team, best serve your customers, which in my case is a very sensitive topic, fertility treatment, but realizing when good is good enough. Not to be a perfectionist, to realize then that you'll be able to go much quicker in the direction that you need to go when you realize that, okay, I'm getting to a good point and I'm going to work with my team and we'll eventually get there, but let's check a few things off the list and let's continue to move forward. So that would be
All right.
some of my input.
Thank you, Catherine. No, anything new to add? So I'm sure all the above, will be there, but anything new that you could add to the list?
For me, first of all, my name is Noha. I'm the co-founder of She's Arab. It's the first dedicated speakers platform for Arab women in the world. So we work on highlighting success stories of Arab women across every sector. It is a social enterprise, and just to pivot and build on what the ladies have said, I found myself in the C-suite at the age of 29, and I knew nothing about what it was.
That's impressive.
Yes, I think so, but I really don't know how I got there. I think, to be very frank and open about it, I think it was a combination of things. So leading with impact and influence is one aspect, so it really never mattered to me how senior I was in an organization, but I was always driven by purpose and passion. And once you have those two factors, you can influence almost anyone. So at the age of 29, they decided to make me a department head, and I found myself sitting in a boardroom with senior leaders who have been in the company for more than 30 years, and having to really build the credibility and gain that seat at the table. And quite frankly, in the beginning, I used to cry a lot, walking out of these boardrooms, being interrupted when presenting, being told to get to the bottom line, you need to present me 2 slides, what is this 10-slide deck? But at the end, it's about being resilient, embracing that change, evolving, And, you know, really believing in yourself. It's, I ask myself so many times, do I really deserve to be there? But the reality is you created the opportunities, you created the relationships, and once you know this, no matter how challenging a situation may be, you will persevere.
Ladies, you make it sound so easy, but thank you. This is very insightful. I realize that between all of you, actually, you've got 90 years of experience. Huh? So that's just amazing, and we're very lucky and very blessed. So the next topic is going to be around basically development, mentoring, and sponsoring other women within the organization or elsewhere. Well, actually, you know, this is the next one, sorry. Gulizar, yes, so your bio says that you're a role model and you have won many, many awards. Huh? How was your experience in volunteering and also sponsoring programs?
Well, mentoring and sponsoring, very important. Many years ago, I was involved with a mentoring group. I mean, we created a mentoring group in Abu Dhabi for the first time, and it was through a group which was the Women Excellence Group. We worked under ADICO, Abu Dhabi International Center of Organizational Excellence, under the auspices of Abu Dhabi Chamber of Commerce and Industry. It was a wonderful experience. We gathered a number of ladies, accomplished, you know, and they were all ready to help. And we created a program of mentors and mentees and big sister and little sister. And it took us months and months to match them, you know, to match the mentors and mentees. In some cases, there were young girls mentoring older women, especially in technology. It was a very successful operation. We had a 2 seasons of graduates, but for technical reasons, the ADICO, that center with the chamber, they wanted to sort of, you know, in a way they closed it, and we did not have a place where it was all done on volunteer basis, of course, but we did not have that umbrella. We did not have that boardroom to go so that we have the people there. So unfortunately we stopped, but it was a wonderful experience. And it's funny, those people that we helped, now their daughters are with us in the next thing, which is the IBWG, International Business Women's Group. That's where we come about sponsoring women. We are, of course, again, it's a volunteer group, it's a non-profit organization. We've been working over 25 years. We just celebrated, actually, last year, the 25th anniversary of the group. And it's all about women empowerment. We sponsor women, we help them by every month we have an event, and it's talks or workshops, seminars. We invite inspirational speakers. They can deliver talks that will inspire, energize, you know, like empower women, that they know they can reach their potential and even beyond. We want women to realize, to have a more global mindset, that this is not your limits. There is a lot happening there. And look around you. Look who's doing this, who's doing that. And thank God we are in Abu Dhabi. We are part of the other business groups. We do lots of events with other business groups. We are invited to all the forums. And something interesting, last year we decided to open the membership for men, because we firmly believe that women empowerment is not a feminine issue. We need to have the other gender with us. They have to understand the problems. They are part of it. And like for today, I would have liked to have a man with us here on this panel and few there with the audience.
So that's good feedback.
Yes. And following that, I must add, some men are really ready to do that.
Absolutely.
We appoint ambassadors of the group to carry the brand. And we have 3 male ambassadors, really prominent people who were very happy to be called an IBWG ambassador. And we think that's a great achievement for us.
Thank you, Gulizar. Catherine, I'd like to come to you on the sponsorship, because mentoring and sponsorship are actually 2 different functions. Huh?
Correct.
And we see a lot of women being mentored, but the sponsoring part is much less. In your experience, you know, what could it be?
I have benefited from both mentoring and sponsorship. I was speaking with one of my team members earlier, and she was saying, are you going to be honest about, going through mentoring, and, you're in the C-suite now. And I said, of course I'm going to be honest. All of these audience, have come here to hear honesty. So even now, I am in a mentoring program called Reach Mentoring here in Dubai, and I've been matched with someone who is completely outside of my industry and is just a great sounding board to speak to objectives, speak to another woman who's gone through challenges. How did she handle certain situations? And you would imagine in between banking and healthcare, there are actually a lot of similar situations that everyone goes through. So that's been really helpful. But part of my really career path has been due to a wonderful sponsor that I had, even from university. Now, there's a difference with someone really, when you say sponsor, she's put me in certain situations and put me in certain opportunities, but it's been my job to take advantage of those opportunities and really excel in them. And I think that I've been able to do that quite well. And I've been in Bourne Hall now for almost a year, and she trusted me enough to say, I'm going to give you the reins. You've earned it in your previous job, where we went through selling a company to a publicly listed company for $165 million. And she said, you've earned it. You've grown a company before. I'd like you to take the reins of this new company, which she was the CEO of. And she said, you've earned it, and you will get board approval for it. And here you go. Let's see what the results you can do. And then she'll move on to another venture, and we'll see if we can partner again. But when you earn trust based on results, it's amazing the kind of support that you can get. And I've been very fortunate in that way to have those opportunities.
Building trust is what I take here, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Based on results, not just based on
results,
favoritism.
yes,
and it's not like our hostess was saying, she's saying, don't pity us. It's not just because we're a woman. It's because this is what I can achieve.
Meritocracy kind of culture.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Manel, so in the Sharjah Museum Authority as managing director there, any development programs that you recommend that are there?
Yes. So the current organization, the authority that I lead at the moment, has 650 staff, and the majority of that staff are female, and the majority of the senior positions are held by female. And I don't think it's because I'm in charge, but I do think that, as you just said, it just so happens that the people that have been the best in terms of their performance, in terms of their dedication to work, have been women, and perhaps it's also just this sector did attract a lot of women initially in the cultural sector. So for that reason, there's two things that I personally do, and one thing that we have initiated in the last 3 years. The first is that I would say a good half of my job, if not more, is dedicated to mentoring women on the job. So I do that every day, and it is a very taxing exercise, because you could do things a lot faster. It's much easier for me to say no, yes, or no, that's not
Takes
okay.
time.
Yeah, but to sit there and say, should I explain to you why I would say no, or why I would say yes, or how to think about this, or to ask them, what did you think about it, and then go through all these discussions, so that to help them understand maybe the way I'm thinking, but only from a point of view of, I'm thinking this way because this is how you think strategically, or this is how you solve a problem, or this is how you stay calm in a crisis and go through it, rather than coming in and just sort of saving the day or making the decision that's right. It's very important for me to have the team understand how that all happens, and that's because my mind is constantly thinking of succession planning. I'm a person who believes that I'm not going to be there forever. I'm a person who believes many different things could happen any day, whether voluntarily or not, that I'm not there. And I can't have an organization fall apart because I'm not there. For me, that would be my biggest failure, and it really bothers me. I want to know that when I'm gone, it would seamlessly people would move in, and nobody would say, oh, but Manal used to do it that way, or we wish she was still here because we don't like how things are. I want everything to feel like it's running just the way I was
So
when I was there.
setting up systems
Yeah,
and procedures
absolutely.
that allow
So
it. So
that's very important, and I have to make sure my senior team are always informed, always involved, and always understanding how things are working. And whatever I do is based, of course, on the directives of my boss, who is the ruler of Sharjah. So everything aligns with that. The second thing to quickly mention is that we started our own leadership program within the authority. It's called the Riyadh program. And what we did is that we were talking about how it's so easy to, within an organization that big, 650 people, but imagine those that have 1,000 or more, to think that when you have a role that's vacant, to say, oh, I need to bring someone from outside, to do this, when actually often you find the talents are within your organization, but they're just not visible, or they need to be, explored, and they need to be strengthened through training and other things. So Riyadh program is a program to allow us to see potential in others within the organization, and then put them in this extensive leadership program. It was initially open for women only, but as of the second year, I said we need to have men in here. It's not fair, I think personally. I think with gender equity and gender balance, you have to, equality is important. So I said if men want to apply, they can, and we should be okay with that. So that's been the current intake. We usually take about 8 to 10 people, and they do the program for a full year. We spend about, generally even in training for the whole organization, at least $1 million dirham, by the way, on training externally, not to mention all the training we spend, that we give people time off to do, which is, we're very fortunate, is paid by the government of Sharjah from their budget. So our staff are continuing on training. Every day there's an email saying these staff are on training today. And it's wonderful to see that people are continuing to learn and that we're developing leaders for the future within the organization.
absolutely. Very inspiring stories, honestly. Thank you. Now, would you like to add anything here?
Sure. Just on the mentorship, I think a lot of organizations have started programs to offer mentorship. However, I think for me, having worked for, coming from a humanitarian or international development background and working for UN Women and seeing the situation from a development and corporate background, because I also worked in Pepsi and McKinsey, I think the programs are there, but are we really, for the corporates or organizations, measuring them? Are we conducting surveys to ask the women if this is the type of mentorship that they actually want, that works for them? On the sponsorship piece, in my own journey, I honestly had a lot more men who actually sponsored me. The women were, I think, assuming this, maybe it's not the case, but I felt there was always a reluctance to really believe that I can do it. And then
Did you
how
go to them, or they came to you?
I always went to them, but it's, the women were more cautious about their image as leaders in terms of sponsoring someone if they didn't have the full picture of your competency skill set. I've had, on the other hand, a lot of male leaders who said, you know what, I'll take a chance on you. I think you're passionate, you're determined. If you let me down, what's the worst that's gonna happen to a CEO, really? So, so on this note, I think I would really urge us women to support each other. And if you are a people manager or a leader, to really believe in your team and take chances on people, because you'll be surprised, what they can achieve, and even if they don't have the full skill set for a role, that they can really stretch themselves and learn and evolve the same way that we all did. So I think this is my learning.
Thank you. So now we'll go to the next topic, which is really combining the passion, the careers, the life, all of them together. And Catherine, if I start with you, that leading a fertility center gives you exposure to women who have to make decisions in their lives, right? Career first, life first. It must be very stressful. How do you support them?
Well, we have a great team. at Bourne Hall, and dealing with, I've dealt with patients myself directly and learning more about their own journeys. I myself am not a mother yet, maybe one day if it's right for me. But I think that we've been able to work with a variety of different fertility journeys and working, having women come in on, during their lunch hours. And we've seen, I think, an increase of women coming from work where their employers have allowed for a lot more flexibility in coming to get their fertility treatment. I myself, am very career focused. I, like Noha, have been a CEO at age 29 for the first time. So I myself might not be the best example of work-life balance, but I have seen quite a bit from our clients, and that's really been inspiring, that they have been so passionate about creating their own families that they've made the time and worked. It's not easy going through fertility treatment at all times. For women, they take on the brunt of injections and what that really looks like. But it's been quite inspiring to see our clients, as well as the ones who are like me and maybe they want to have children in the future. But Dubai, fortunately, is incredibly modern and allows embryo freezing and egg freezing, which is very modern for worldwide. So it's very encouraging for and to go out and check their egg reserves and see if they want to have a family in the future. Then you can do that and allow for more flexibility to come up with more tailored journeys for everyone. So that's been quite encouraging. So I would encourage everyone to explore their options. It's not, one pathway is right for everyone, but just to explore.
And there's a way.
There is a way.
There's a way to live the dream.
And the UAE is incredibly supportive of that.
So we're blessed.
We are.
Excellent. Nuha, I'd like to come back to you actually on this, because you went from the corporate world to a startup, really, right? And balancing all this, you're a mother, a wife, and you have a lot of responsibilities. Leaving that comfort zone for a startup, how was that?
So it's funny because when I was in the corporate world, I thought that I didn't have work-life balance, and I was like, okay, let me if I become an entrepreneur, it's gonna get better. But it actually, I think right now I work 24 hours a day, even more, because it's my own business and I can't not get back to my clients. So actually, the work-life balance point is very relevant in any field. So I think what my finding in this area is two things. So I used to have the guilt syndrome, okay? So always, oh my God, today I wasn't with my kids, and then the next time I traded off this meeting, and what is my boss going to think of me? So I think one is letting go of that guilt factor, because, I think our kids, the same way that, we are flexible, agile, we evolve as human beings, they also adapt to their mother or father in the way that they are. So for instance, when I started in the corporate world traveling a lot, I used to teach my kids about the countries that I've gone to. I used to get them things from there and have stories and discussions. And so what it boils down to for me, if you have a demanding role, it's quality over quantity. So, you could be a stay-at-home mother, and while you're at home, you're always on the phone, you're distracted by a million things, and you're still not giving that quality time to your kids. But you could also spend 1 hour of true value, bonding, connecting, and this is what really matters for the children. And the second one is time management. So, there are times, and I hate to say this in an audience, but it happened in my life, that I was in a senior management meeting, and I forgot to pick up my son from a sports practice. And I had my phone ringing, and this was a wake-up call. What do you do when how can you forget your own kids? And so again, understanding your priorities, being honest with yourself, starting to have the self-awareness on what matters most, are the things that can actually enable you to make decisions and have courage to step down from positions that may not suit your priorities at that time, and evolve again in your dreams.
Thank you very much, Nuha. I just want to check in. How much time do we have left? Not even 1 minute? Oh my God. Okay. So we'll have to skip the next one, and I'll go straight to the last one, which is, Last week at Davos, they were mentioning that there's a reskilling revolution, and that women are actually at the moment in a disadvantaged position in the STEM subjects, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So if you had three top skills to recommend to women today, what would they be? Gulizar?
Well, to invest in themselves, first of all, really, to see what they need. If it's in education, fine. If it's in themselves, they really need to invest in themselves and keep themselves even more busy. For me, I keep learning. I learn from everyone, and I'm very happy when I've always known that I've learned something new. And I will suggest to everyone, play bridge. Bridge is very good.
Okay.
Really, you use the second part of your brain, you learn how to make a contract, and you learn how to play with a partner. It is very important.
Very good. Manal?
Thank you. So 3 skills. I would say one, which came out to me even more recently. So I did this course a few years ago, but I didn't use it as much, and then now I had to, which is negotiation skills. And I realized that women in particular don't really learn how to negotiate well for themselves. They feel embarrassed or shy sometimes, or reluctant to say what they want, what they believe their value is, what they should be owed, whether it's salary or anything else. And I think that's an important thing to learn as a skill, is to be able to do that. 2, I think empathy is a very important skill, I've noticed, and that's what, in a way, what Noha was talking about, is when you also understand people in their situations. I'm not a mother either, but I understand what mothers go through. I don't think you have to be that person to understand what it must be like for a mom who has to be up all night because her kid's in the hospital or has fever and comes in tired or needs to leave early, because I understand those things, even though I don't have kids. I think for everyone, not just women, but I think every leader should have the empathy to understand what it must be like for someone who gets a salary of $1,000 a month. What is it like for someone who has 5 kids, et cetera, and try to be flexible in that way and understanding when needed. I think is extremely important. And I'd say third, a skill for today, I think for young women, surprisingly, I did read that younger women, or let's say millennials as they call them, find it very difficult to actually have conversations with a person. And that's because of social media and the use of WhatsApp and messaging and everything. And I've seen that with younger women today. Like they just don't know how to ask questions, they don't know how to listen and carry on a conversation about something. They're very yeah, exactly. It's communication skills, but it's also really knowing how to have that. And I think that's another particular one, I think, for younger women to concentrate on. And so communication building is extremely important.
I would agree with that, yes. And you, Catherine?
But not all.
I think they're telling us to wrap up, that's why.
Oh, okay, maybe they are telling us to wrap up. So then I won't take too long, but I would just say that not all young women, maybe not all millennials have that, but I would add on to your negotiation skills. I wish that I had invested in that earlier on in my career, because often you can negotiate on behalf of your company much easier than you can negotiate on behalf of yourself. Yes. Having empathy, I would agree with. Being flexible, being adaptable. I think I mentioned before, being able to, I've worked in healthcare for 10 years now, and every team, every company, every timing is different, and just being able to focus on what's important, but being able to, observe and be flexible, that would be an important skill.
Thank you.
I'll make this really quick, and I think emotional intelligence is really going to be key in terms of navigating leadership. The second thing, as she's Arab, I can't help myself but talk about public speaking and communication, because if you have the most brilliant idea, you can't communicate it clearly, you can't really go very far, even in the workplace. And last but not least, making time for self-care and investing in your own emotional balance, dealing with your really self-development issues. So I think that's
So I think we're learning also that we need more time because there's so much more to learn from you and stories to share. But I think we'll take that offline. Thank you very much. Thank you to the panel and thank you to the audience. Thank you.